The title of this video is The Downside for Drivers When Uber and Taxis Join Forces. So a lot has been written in the news lately about how Uber and taxi companies are starting to work together. I have a particular interest in this because in 2018, Harry the RideShare Guy Campbell asked me if I wanted to drive a taxi for a company called Flywheel in San Francisco for a week. And I did it, and it was a blast. Really had an interesting time, and I got to experience what that was like. Well, in this video, I'm going to look at kind of the history of Uber and taxis and ask ourselves the question, what does it mean for us, rideshare drivers, that Uber is now buddying up with taxi companies, okay? So you're gonna get the lowdown on what's happening with the taxi companies, then I'm gonna tell you how I think that's going to impact us. Bottom line, I don't think it's great. And then at the end of the video, I'm going to share with you the number one action you can take to secure your future in this taxi rideshare company coming together environment that we find ourselves in. So all that and a whole lot more coming right up. All right, hey everybody, it's Jay Crater with the RideShare Guy, drinking my big freaking cold brew. So by way of background, this is the article, one of the articles. It's called What's It Like to Be a Taxi Driver versus an Uber Driver. This was back in, I wrote it in 2018. I think it was updated in 2020. So it used to be that Uber and taxi companies were like this. Uber was seen as the company that was going to put taxi companies out of business. I don't know if you've seen the 4-part miniseries called Super Pumped. Here's a picture from it, and you can see that's the Travis Kalanick character, the CEO, with his Uber car crunching on top of a taxi, right? So that's what the environment was, and if you watch that show, you can see it was a very intense competition, and Uber went to some real extremes in order to get a foothold in the industry. So number one, Uber begins listing taxis in the app. So this is the article I read called from The Verge, How Uber Learned to Stop Fighting and Play Nice with Taxis. And then we're going to go to an excerpt. The latest is Los Angeles Yellow Cab, which announced today its plan, along with its partner fleets, to list approximately 1,200 taxis in Uber's app as part of a pilot program. So that means they're just starting with 1,200. The pilot has received approval from the Los Angeles Department of Transportation, allowing taxi driver onboarding to begin this week in Los Angeles, San Diego, and Orange counties. Drivers will start receiving Uber trip referrals in the coming weeks. Pings, they're going to be getting pings that we should be getting. Los Angeles joins New York City, San Francisco, and a host of other major cities around the world that feature their taxis in Uber's ride-hail app. It also represents the emergence of a new and unexpected alliance between taxi owners and the tech company that vowed to disrupt their business. We're going to go to number two now. How does this impact drivers? Okay, so the first thing it means is drivers are going to be getting lower payouts. Why do I say that? Because if you have more people willing to accept rides, right, that's going to bring the price down, right? Because if you don't take the ride, there's some taxi driver who's going to take the ride, right? So when there's a big fat supply of drivers, which there already is, right? Just from rideshare alone, now we're throwing in the taxis. That means the payouts are gonna come down. Number two is job security, right? More people doing this means that the opportunity isn't going to be as strong, which means people are, you're going to ask yourself, should I keep doing this, right? I've been asking myself this for the last several months because there's more drivers, less demand. I'm not getting as many pings. I'm spending more time waiting in my car for the next ping. So that's an issue of job security. And the final kind of negative impact is an inconsistent passenger experience. So the passengers are sometimes they're going to be in a regular car and sometimes they're going to be in a taxi. Now, I've been in taxis and they're not as nice as my car, I'm telling you. So I guess you could look at it two ways. When they're in my car, they're going to feel like they're getting more of a luxury kind of a ride. But that inconsistency of experience usually means people are a little more unsure and they're not going to tip as well. So I think there's huge drawbacks to this. And I think it's a real problem for us, the rideshare drivers, simply because we got more competition. More competition is not good. It's not good. It doesn't help us at all. You can manage your route. So if you see a place where taxis hang out, get away from there, right? Because there's going to be whatever number of pings, but there's a lot of people looking for rides. So one thing about taxis is you can see them, and they're hooked up to Uber and Lyft. So manage your route so you're not around them. What else can you do? Be excellent at your craft. So all you can do is be as good as you can be. Drive smooth, have a clean car, have a car that smells good, play good music, have bristling conversation, listen to your passengers, make their day just shine and get rewarded with tips, right? Drive when most people aren't driving, right? Take advantage of all the bonuses. So be excellent at your craft. And the number one thing you can do, if you're really into this, right? And it would be, if I were a full-time driver, this is something I might consider, is become a taxi driver, right? So Flywheel, who I worked with back in 2018, they gave me a Toyota Prius. It was a nice car. And if I could get not only taxi fares, which pay higher, and Uber fares, that's kind of the best of both worlds, right? But you got to make a real commitment to that. This is like you're doing full-time. But if I were working full-time in San Francisco right now, I would be seriously considering becoming a taxi driver. So then I can have taxi rides and Uber rides. I wouldn't be losing anything. I would only be gaining a few taxi rides, and those pay higher. So that would make my overall revenue higher. So these are some ideas as ways that you can compete. Well, what I wrote down here is the more things change, the more they stay the same. So here we are, big change, right? Big change with Uber and taxis coming together. What's staying the same? Uber doesn't give a hoot about their drivers. I don't think anyone really thought, hey, how's this going to affect rideshare drivers? They don't, it's just not. So that's what stays the same. Uber's disregard for us, the drivers, who are now have more drivers to compete with. That means we have less rides to offer and less money to make per driver. So that's the downside. I've given you a few suggestions, and you got to monitor it in your own market, right? Right now it's just in a few markets, so for most of us it's not that big of an issue. It's not in Sacramento yet. Sacramento's not a big taxi town. This really impacts more, big urban areas, big city centers like San Francisco, New York, LA, Chicago, where the taxi business is thriving, is doing well. So that's it for today. That's it on the taxis. If you haven't watched Super Pump, go watch it. It's pretty entertaining, and it'll really give you an insight into the background of Uber and what it took to get Uber off the ground and get it going, right? All right, thanks for watching. This is Jay Crater with the RideShare Guy. If you liked the video, please give it a like. That helps more people to see it. If you haven't subscribed yet to our channel, subscribe. We'd love to have you as part of our team. Go out and have a great day. Go tell somebody you love them. Make their day. Be safe out there. I'll see you next time.